Greetings of the day, my students. Welcome to Bangla Shikha Classroom 2025, an endeavor of Poschim Bongo Samogro Shikha Mission under the Education Department, Government of West Bengal. I am Mita Dotto, Assistant Teacher of Dokhinesha Sri Sri Sharoda Devi Balika Vidya Mandir. Today we are going to do the lesson, The Night Train at Deoli, from Prose of your Realm of English B selection book. This lesson is in your semester 3 exams, and along with it we are going to discuss the MCQ patterns and techniques to answer them correctly. Because you know, in semester 3 we will have you will have to answer MCQs in the question paper. So we will do that, and also we will discuss something about answering the textual grammar, which also will be in the form of MCQs in your semester 3. So as we proceed, please open page 61 of your prose, lesson 1, The Night Train at Deoli by Ruskin Bond. So to know about Ruskin Bond, first we should say that he is still living. He was born on May 19, 1934. He is an Indian author but of British descent. He is an icon among Indian writers and a very popular children's author, and he wrote a number of short stories and novels for children. His first novel, The Room on the Roof, was written when he was just 17 years old, and he won the John Levin Rhys Memorial Prize for that. He has authored more than 500 short stories, essays and novels. In 1992, he was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award for Our Trees Still Grow in Dera. In 1999, he was awarded the Padma Shri Award, and in 2014 he was given the Padma Bhushan Award. Now his appeal, the appeal of his stories is the simplicity of his writing style. We will see in this story also how beautifully his flow of language is, how beautiful his flow of language is. And with that simplicity, he goes so deep into the subject matter that we start literally feeling what he writes. He lives in the hills and he feels inspired by the atmosphere there. And the setting of most of his stories, novels is the hills. He writes in a way that is very easy to understand, and that's why a range of people, from young, old, children, all of them love reading his books. Ruskin Bond, as I told you, he is still alive and he resides in Lander in Mussoorie, India. Now here is a picture of Ruskin Bond with his sister in their childhood days. I have especially put this picture for you because you have casuarina tree in your syllabus, and there the theme of the poem is basically how the author has spent his childhood days with her siblings. So you know how impact these childhood memories are to a person. Introduction to this story, we see that the story revolves around a young student who travels in a train from Delhi to Dehradun to meet his grandmother during his vacation. And in that journey path, there is a Deoli station, a station named Deoli, where he sees a girl who was selling baskets. The girl was a very ordinary girl, but the young student was very much captivated by her, and he buys a basket from her also, and they have a very brief but very meaningful interaction. Why meaningful? Because the author took her back in his memory. So, when he looks forward to his train journeys, he hopes to see her again. So, he has that expectation of meeting the girl again. That's why it was a meaningful interaction. But at the end of the story, we see that finally he fails to find her at Deoli station anymore. And his train journeys never felt the same enthralling and nice to him again. The presence of the girl remained alive in his memory. He decided to break his journey at Deoli one day to search the girl, but at the end, we see that he did not do it. Perhaps he did not do it because he feared that the girl may have got married or may be sick or something bad has happened to the girl. So he did not want to face that reality. He wanted to keep alive his longing for the girl. That's why he did not go again in search of the girl. So this is a picture of Dera and the night train at Deoli. The book cover has a picture like this, symbolizing how the train lines were through some dense forests. Now we come to the setting of the story. It is Dera. The author mentions Dehradun, which is a city in the Himalayan foothills. Tarai, the foothills of Himalayas, are known for their dense forest, and that region is known as the Tarai region. Electric bulbs and oil lamps, the station master, the coolies, the Deoli station, the carriage door, tea stall, kettle, all these tell us of the station where most of the things happen. So, what does electric bulbs and lamps say? The train stopped at Deoli when it was almost dawn. It shows this electric bulbs and oil lamps, they show a mix of modern and traditional lighting, because you know oil lamps were used long ago. But then electric bulbs started coming in, and this station has both electric bulbs and oil lamps. And they were still on because it was still dark when the train came and stopped at Deoli station. So the station master is a person who is in charge of a railway station. Why is he important here? Because we see when the boy did not find the girl in the station, he even asked the station master about where she was, whether he knew about it. The coolies, these are the porters who carry luggage at train stations, and these coolies, we must have been there in the station, in the Deoli station, though the station has been shown to be a very lonely station where not many people got in or off the train. Now, Deoli is the name of a station but it mentions no specific location, so we are not sure from this lesson exactly where it is. Carriage door is the door separating the compartments of a train. Tea stall is a small mobile tea stall, which we all must have seen in a station. There are many tea stalls, so where they sell tea and snacks, and where the boy got down to and met the girl for the first time, where the basket he got from her. And kettle is a metal container used to boil water for tea. So that is a very common thing that we find in a tea stall. Now the description of the girl, bare feet, intently. The intently means looking at someone with close attention. So what description we find? We find from the vision of the sight of the boy who was looking at the girl intently and saw that she was bare feet. She had no slipper in her feet, and this is a detail which suggests poverty or a simple lifestyle. And she had a pale skin. That may be due to her background, because you know, when we are not healthy, we may have a pale skin, or she may be having a pale skin due to the cold weather there. Her hair was shiny and black. Her eyes were dark and troubled. So this suggests that the girl's eyes carried some burden or sadness, because of course you can understand from her bare feet, from her dress, from her pale skin, that she was not at all well to do and may be carrying some burden and troubles, which is very much associated with poverty. Searching and eloquent, her eyes seemed to be looking for something and communicating a message without words. So her eyes were very deep. They seemed to be searching for something, and her eyes were very expressive, as if she was searching for something. And her eyes were so expressing that even without speaking something, it seemed that she could communicate some message with her looks or with her eyes. So gracefully, we find the girl being poor, but she was moving with a lot of elegance and grace and dignity. Her presence was very dignified, and it indicated a sense of self-respect, which the author stresses on. So this may be a picture of what the girl looked like with some baskets, though she had a shawl on her when she was walking down. And this may be the lonely station of Deoli, where it was dawn when the train came, and of course that's why the lights of the train too had to be on. And we saw in the last slide that even the station, the electric lamps and oil lamps were there on. So now, coming to the synopsis of the story, it begins with the narrator, a young man traveling to Dehradun during his college vacation to meet his grandmother. And it involved a train journey, and there was a station called Deoli, which the train reached at around 5 a.m. in the morning. No one usually got up and down the train, but the train halted there for 10 minutes. The narrator paints a very vivid picture of the station, which we know he described the tea stall, how it was dimly lit with a single platform, and the jungle was also visible in the faint dawn light. The narrator was 18 years old, and in one of his journeys he noted a young, graceful girl in old, not very good clothes walking down the platform selling baskets. And she had a very dignified presence. So she saw the girl coming very elegantly towards the window where the narrator was seated. She came and stood there, and the narrator was looking at her. Their eyes met, but the girl also saw the narrator was looking at her, but tried to move her eyes away from him. Now what the narrator did, he gradually moved out of the train and went to the platform tea stall. There the girl too went and asked whether he would want to buy a basket. Refusing at first, he buys a small basket from her. And as the girl was trying to say something to the narrator, the guard blew the whistle, and of course the narrator had to run back to the train because the train would go off. So it was a brief encounter. It was not that they talked a lot, but this brief encounter had a very meaningful impact on the narrator's mind, because she remained in his mind through the rest of the journey. And when did they meet second? When the narrator was on his return journey, again the train came at Deoli station, and the narrator felt that he was expecting a lot and having a lot of excitement that he would meet the girl again. So he hopes to see her again. And when they meet, he buys another basket for her and they share a few more words, which of course deepens their connection. And the narrator says that he would be back for her again. This way, again, the same thing happens. The guard blows the whistle and the narrator departs. And the train starts moving and the narrator departs. And this time, the narrator is left with a sense of sadness and regret because he thought that he may not meet the girl again. So, again, this time, what is the difference? When the narrator was going to Dera, he went to Dera, and when he was with his grandmother, the girl was not so much in his mind. But while returning, when he he met the girl and left this time, the girl was all over in his mind. But when he passes through the station, again, second time they met, but the third time when they were passing, she was nowhere to be seen. He tries asking around, but no one can offer any helpful answers. They never speak again and he never tries to find her. So the third time, the girl was not present in the station, and even after asking everyone, he did not find her. The narrator decided that he would one day stop there, try searching the girl, but she did not do it. So we see the story explores a theme of memory, longing, and innocence, symbolizing the beauty of fleeting interactions that stay with us for a long time. So we see here that this story has a theme of sweet memories, memories of the narrator meeting the girl, a longing for meeting again, the innocence of the girl, and all these symbolize what? The beauty of small and brief interactions which stay in our minds for a long, long time. And the writing here is very simple, and it attaches the reader. When the author or the narrator is coming here for the third time, when he is expecting to see the girl and not finding, even we are involved in that search. We are also, along with the narrator, hoping that we can see the girl. We are hoping that the narrator finds the girl. So, the description of Deoli as an isolated station intrigues readers, making them share the narrator's curiosity about the life beyond it. So you see, the station Deoli is shown as an isolated station. Nobody gets up from there, nobody gets down there. So that intrigues the readers, that raises our curiosity to find the life behind it. And even the narrator had curiosity about what happened to the girl, but he never tried to go and search for the girl because he was afraid that he may face some reality about the girl which will make him sad or make him suffer. So here we come to the theme of the story, which speaks about the long-lasting power of youthful, unreciprocated love. and the passage of time. So why unreciprocated love? Because we can understand that the narrator had a lot of feelings and love for that girl. That's why he was so concerned about her. But this feeling of his could not be reached to that girl. Maybe that girl too had some feelings. That's why she was very happy and her face brightened up when she saw the narrator for the second time. But we do not know beyond that. And this story explores how meeting with a girl selling baskets at a train station leaves a lasting and bittersweet memory in the mind of the narrator. Sweet because she liked the girl, bitter because she lost the girl. So then we come to nostalgia and memory. The story is set upon the narrator's reflections of his past, specifically his yearly train journeys to Dehradun. So that his memory is intense with the thought of the girl makes him nostalgic, makes him think of that time when he met her. But the narrator, though charmed by the girl, their association and connection remains unspoken and unfulfilled because they never meet again. And even years later, he did not find her, he could not find her. So nothing more happened between them other than the association of a sweet memory. The passage of time is highlighted here because the narrator's feelings for the girl remain strong, but it gets lost in the passage of time. There is no meeting, only youthful memories and charms, which even time cannot destroy. So it illustrates the enduring power of youthful memories and charms. That moment the narrator had twice with the girl had such a powerful impact, had such a charm that it remained with him forever. So here we see the beauty of the ordinary is emphasized. The girl is a very simple one with a simple everyday life. She was just a basket seller, but that was enough for her to attract the narrator's mind, his thoughts. So that impact remained with the author, with the narrator. So the beauty and charm of the ordinary in a simple setting of a small train station and the interactions that occur leave a lifelong impact on the narrator's mind. Here there is a symbolism of loneliness and human connection. The narrator's loneliness is alleviated by his encounter with the girl. So the narrator's loneliness is no more. It is destroyed by the presence of the girl's thought in his mind. And the girl's independence and confidence are also admirable, but also highlight her own loneliness. The girl we see goes to the narrator, asks him to buy the basket. So she had a lot of confidence in her, which was admirable. But she was also lonely because she is also shown there as an isolated being. The story also shows how human connections can be fleeting but still meaningful. So, the briefness of human connections doesn't matter. Even if an interaction is very small, if it's deep, then it can still be very, very meaningful. The train and the station represents movement and transition. The train goes from one station to another. So, in life, nothing is static. the author and the girl, even if they don't meet each other again, they move on in life. We do not know about what they did later on in life. We know only that they were separated. We have not seen their union. So, whatever happens moves on, and there is a change to everything according to the situation. So, the train is a symbolization of that movement, and the station is a symbolization of the temporary static position or situation that we are exposed to. So the station was a temporary stopping point, a moment of pause, and the station, train and the station are used here to explore the themes of journey and destination. We find a bit of figure of speech here. The train is given human characteristics such as rushing on into the forest. The train's whistle is described as long, mournful cry. When the train guard blew the whistle, to the narrator it seemed like a mournful cry, a sad cry. Why? Because he had to board the train and go away from the girl. So that adds a touch of melancholy to the scene also. And then we see the girl's beauty is described using metaphors such as vision of moonlight, which suggests her ethereal and enchanting nature. The moonlight is very trance-like and dream-like like to us. So the girl had such an ethereal and enchanting beauty. That's why the narrator gets attracted towards her beauty. And the train journey is described as a dream, which adds to the sense of fantasy and also escapism. Because dreams are not reality. That's why perhaps the narrator did not try to find the girl. In reality, he may have faced something, he may have got some news of the girl which may have destroyed his dream of her, fantasy of her. So, then there's a simile that is used to compare the girl beauties to something else, such as bright as the stars. So, her beauty was described to be as bright as the stars. So that's a simile used to describe her. Now, in your semester 3, you have to answer MCQs. So, how to answer MCQs correctly, multiple choice questions correctly? You have to read the lesson very, very carefully, because questions may come from any corner of the lesson. So read the lesson and again. When you face a question, read all the answer options carefully. Eliminate any option that are obviously incorrect or irrelevant. Like reading some of the options, you know that they are not anyway connected to the story. So you can just ignore them or eliminate them and then try to find the correct option. Consider the context of the question and subject matter. See, if you can in one read understand clearly what the answer is, then it's good. If you are not sure of the answer, then you have to read the line again and again, consider the context, recapitulate the story, recapitulate the subject matter of the story, and then try to answer the question. If you are unsure, try to think of the correct answer and see if it matches any of the option. If you are not sure what option you should choose, then what to do? You will just stop looking at the options, just try to think of the story, connect it, and find out what the answer may be. Then zeroing in that or zeroing in that context, try to find out if your answer matches with any of the options given in the question. If multiple options seem correct, choose the most accurate one. And if you do not know the answer, then think a bit and try to answer the nearest that you think. But don't ignore answering, because your guess may be correct and you may get answer for that question. Because there is no negative marks, you can do this. If you cannot get the right answer, like you cannot come to a conclusion about the right option. So for all of it, you can very well understand that you need to read the lesson again and again and understand it properly. Now the MCQ questions, MCQs may be of different MCQ. Q already is question. So MCQ questions may not be, MCQ may be in the following forms. It may in the form of fill in the blanks, a blank may be given and you have to fill that blank with the options that will be provided. As you have to do in the OMR sheets, you already will have practices in your school. So you have to just round the, according to what the directions are given, you have to give black mark on that round thing. So here also the options will be provided. True and false type. There also, which of the following options are true? Some options may be given and you have to again do according to the direction what is given. Completion of sentence, that is the traditional types where a sentence is given and 4 options are given, where you have to choose the right option. And then there is matching the column. One column A will be there, one column B will be there. So you have to choose the answers from column B that match with column A. And then there are assertion and reasoning question and answers. So that is, what is assertion? A statement of fact. A sentence will be given which has some fact. And let us consider that to be A. It will be written as A because of assertion, A. And the reason as R. What is R? The statement that explains the fact. In A, the statement of fact is given, and in R, a statement that explains the fact will be given. So you have to connect the two. And then there is rearrangement of sentences or events. Some sentences will be given in haphazard way. You have to arrange them according to their proper sequence. And then there is relationship between statements. So all of these I will be demonstrating to you through examples. So first is the assertion and reasoning type MCQ. Here the narrator was constantly looking for the girl with the basket on the platform through the train window. So this is a statement. And here there is a reason. The statement is already given. The image of her shiny black hair and troubled eyes left a strong impression on the narrator's mind. So these two sentences are there. So the options are both A and R is true and R is the correct explanation of A. So what is this option telling? That both the sentence A, sentence 1 and sentence 2, they are true and R is the correct explanation of A. And then it is given both A and R is true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Then it is given A is true but R is false, and D is A is false but R is true. So now the answer will be A. Why will it be A? Because you see the narrator was constantly looking for the girl with the baskets on the platform through the train window. So it is actually true. The narrator was looking for the girl. And what is the sentence 2? The image of her shiny black hair and dark troubled eyes left a strong impression on the narrator's mind. So this is also true. We have gone through the slides that the girl has left a very strong impact on the narrator's mind. So the girl, we have seen that she has shiny black hair and dark troubled eyes. So all these has occupied the narrator's mind. So both of these sentences are true. So both A and R is true. And R is the correct explanation of A. Because the narrator was impressed by the girl, that's why she was looking for her, right? So the sentence 2 is a correct explanation of sentence A. You go through the sentences properly, listen again and again what I have spoken, and you will understand and you will practice more of these from wherever you get such questions. Now coming to the second one, assertion is sentence A is the girl selling baskets was well dressed. And sentence R is she was wearing a shawl and had black shiny hair. So here, of course, the girl selling baskets was not well dressed, but here it's written she was well dressed. So the first two answers are not correct, A and B, because everywhere it is written A and R is true, A and R is true. So our natural selection will be A is false. But R is true because the sentence 2, the girl was wearing a shawl and she had black shiny hair. So our obvious option that we need to choose is A is false, but R is true. So my students, please go through this slide carefully and listen to what explanation I have given and practice. Practice makes a man perfect, so practice again and again. Next is the sentence relationship type. Here I saw her walking up the platform, and statement B is I felt an unexpected thrill. So we have to make out the relationship between the two sentences. Here it says statement A and statement B are independent sentences. They are not independent sentences. One is connected with the other. So statement B contradicts statement A. Statement B does not contradict with statement A. Contradict means it's opposite. It does not have a connection, and it's the opposite of sentence B. That is also not true. Statement A is the cause of statement B. It cannot be I saw her walking up the platform, I felt an unexpected thrill. So first is the narrator saw her walking up the platform, and that's why he felt an unexpected thrill. So even D cannot be correct. D cannot be correct because statement A is the effect of statement B, they say. So the answer is answer is C, where it says the statement A is the cause of statement B. I saw her walking up the platform, that is the cause. So statement A is the cause, because why did I feel an unexpected thrill? Because I saw her walking up the platform. That's why C is the answer of this relationship question. Now we come to the textual grammar topics, where there are joining and splitting of sentences, changing of narration, correction of errors. All these you have done in your classes up to Madhyamik. So I will just recapitulate something and give you some examples of how you have to answer the MCQ questions here. So when you do grammar, you have to keep in mind that sentence transformation involves correct sentences, correct grammatical sentences, and also it involves changing the structure or form of a sentence, but the original meaning should be retained. If the original meaning is not retained, the sentence will be incorrect. If there are grammatical mistakes, the sentence will be incorrect. So you should Keep these two in mind while doing the sentences. So here the transformation of sentences involves simple, complex and compound. You know the simple sentences, it's just a sentence with one independent clause. For example, it's I went to the store. So I went to the store is independent clause. It does not need help of any other thing to express its meaning. Then there is complex sentence in which there is one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses may be there. So as an example, we can say I went to the store because I needed milk. Here independent clause is I went to the store and dependent clause is because I needed milk. I went to the store can exist on its own, but because I needed milk needs the help of the previous sentence to tell its meaning. So that's the complex sentence. And the compound sentence, the definition is a sentence with two or more independent clauses joined by a conjunction. Here I went to the store and I brought milk. Here I went to the store and I brought milk. Both can stand as independent sentences, but they are joined with the conjunction and. So what do we mean by a clause? A group of words that contains a subject and a verb. And based on those, we categorize simple, complex and compound sentence. So when you do the joining or splitting of sentences, you should first know what these type of sentences here. Only then you can identify what you have to do correctly. So this is just an explanation of what I have shown in my previous slide. Clauses are in simple sentence, there is subject plus verb plus predicate. One complete thought is there. In complex sentence, it will be one independent clause and one dependent clause. So there are subordinate conjunctions joining those clauses like after, before, because, although, etc. What's there? And in compound sentences, both the independent sentences are joined by the coordinating conjunctions. Okay, so in the next slide we see what are coordinating conjunctions and what are subordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So if you take the first words of the first letters of the coordinating conjunction, it comes to fan boys. So it's easy to remember the coordinating conjunctions. Okay, and what do the coordinating conjunctions do? It connects one or two phrases or clauses with the same grammatical type. And what does subordinating conjunction do? It joins or links a dependent clause to an independent clause. So some common subordinating conjunctions are mentioned there: after, although, as, if. So we use coordinating conjunctions to join the complex sentence and the compound sentence, and the subordinating conjunctions to join the complex sentences. Okay, so keep that in mind. Go back to these slides, see them carefully, try to understand, and along with me try and listen to the explanation that I am giving. Now we come to example. She came to my window, she stopped, join into a simple sentence. She stopped and then came to my window. Coming to my window, she stopped. She came to my window and she stopped. She stopped at my window when she was coming. So we see she stopped and then came to my window. So this is, she stopped can be one sentence, came to my window can be another sentence. So it is joined by an, it cannot be it cannot be the correct sentence. So what is the way here? The clue is given. Determine which action you want to describe as happening before or alongside another action. So she came to my window, she stopped. So what happened first? Here there are two verbs in the two sentences. She came to my window. Came is the verb, and here she stopped. Stopped is the verb. So what does she do first? She comes to the window first. So coming to my window, she stopped. We have to choose we have to determine the action that is done first, and then that verb that action into its ing form. So came, I choose, because she first came to the window, I choose the verb came, and plus ing verb, it becomes coming to my window, she stopped. So that's why we choose this as the correct option. Then it's a splitting of sentences. Splitting is just the opposite of joining the sentences. Here you have to identify the independent clauses. You have to identify those parts of the sentence that contains a subject and a verb and could function as an independent sentence, so that you can just break the sentence and put that as one of the sentence. So you have to look for the coordinating conjunctions or commas. For example, fanboys, as I told you, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, or any commas, so that you can break those sentences, see if they are containing a subject and a verb, and then make them as independent sentences, so that they can exist alone and you can split the sentence. Separate the clauses. If the clauses are independent, replace the conjunction or comma with a full stop to form two separate sentences. So what do? If you identify there is an independent clause, or you see that by eliminating the conjunctions or the commas, you can find an independent clause, then you remove that coordinating conjunction, or you remove that comma and put a full stop there to make two separate sentences. And you have to consider transitional words or phrases like in addition, however. There are some words or phrases, these can be to create connections between the new sentences, these can be used. Now here is an example. I was nervous and anxious as the train drew into Deoli. Split the sentence into simple sentences. So the train drew into Deoli, I was nervous and anxious. So the train was drawing into Deoli, I became nervous and anxious. The train having drawn into Deoli, these are not correct sentences at all. So the natural choice is the train drew into Deoli. This is one separate sentence, and I was nervous and anxious. These are this is a very option, very clear option that can be chosen. Now there are narration change. You know narration change, you see a picture there saying direct speech where it's telling I will call you tomorrow. Somebody is telling somebody that he or she will be calling tomorrow. She is saying to somebody that she will be calling him tomorrow. So when that person to whom he or she is telling is speaking about it to someone else, then he said that he would call me the next day. So you see the I pronoun is changed, tomorrow is changed into next day, and the sentence is in the indirect speech we say. Now we will go into more details about that. Here also we see a grandmother telling I am making cakes for Jojo to some lady, and this lady is telling to a little boy, grandma said that she was making cakes for you. So we see this I has become she. So you see the things change according to the situations. When somebody is speaking directly, it is said in one way, and when somebody is narrating that speech to somebody else, when it's not direct, one person talking to another person, there is a third person to whom that speech is being referred to, then it changes. That we called as narration change. So the 6 rules of narration change are: you have to remove the comma and quotation mark, change the reporting verb, use conjunction, change the pronoun, change the tense, and change near words to distant words. That I will explain to you in details here. Use a verb tense that is further back in the tense. For example, if the verb in the direct speech is play, it will change to played in the indirect speech. Reporting verb must be in the past tense. Reporting verb, the verb which reports the thing. I told her, go out of the class. So I told her, go out of the class. So when I am changing the narration, I will see what the reporting verb tense is. I will change the rest of the sentence in indirect speech according to the reporting verb that is given in the question. Subject of the reporting verb must be the person who said the original statement. Use a third person pronoun. The pronoun changes when you speak in the indirect speech. The modal verbs can, could, must, all these change in their past tense equivalent. Punctuation change because you remove or eliminate the comma and inverted commas or any question mark or exclamation mark, 2 full stops in the direct that are in the direct speech when you change it in the indirect speech. Time and place, I saw him today becomes that day. Yesterday becomes the previous day. Removing commas and inverted commas, this also we have discussed. And changing the first letter of the speech into small letter except for I. You know I is always in capital, so except for that you have to change the reported speech in small letters. So here, when changing a narration with the word let, you can change let to too late in indirect speech. You can also change the reporting verb to ordered or requested. Like there is one example, mother said, let your sister do the work herself. Now here, what we can do, mother said has been changed to ordered. Or if mother requests and says, it can also be used as requested. So instead of mother told me to let my sister do the work herself, it can be written as ordered or requested. So here you see mother said let your sister. So the inverted commas have been eliminated in the indirect speech, and after ordered, after the reporting verb, the me that has been written, your has been changed to me, the pronoun, but it is in the small letter. The capital letter is no more after removing the apostrophes and the commas. To let my sister do the work herself. So let becomes to let. So this is the rule of let when you find it in your questions. And there is another exception when there is a universal truth or when there is something habitual that is spoken of. It remains in the present tense even if the reporting verb is in the past tense. So here we see the teacher said the sun rises in the east. So the teacher said, it's in the past tense. So it cannot be the sun rose in the east. That the sun rises in the east is an universal truth. So when the teacher said, it's not that when the teacher said the sun rose in the east, it's that the sun always rises in the east. So when there is a universal truth, the reporting verb, even if it is in the past tense, the rest of the sentence remains in the present tense, just as in this sentence it has been done. The teacher said that the sun rises in the east. Now here I have given you a chart for your reference, how the pronouns are changed. The following table shows the changing of the pronouns with changing the speech. You must have already have knowledge of all these, because even in your Madhyamik you have done narration change. But yet, to recapitulate, I have given all these slides here. And then there is today becomes that day, here becomes there. These are the narration rules with time and place words. This is the table that will help you recapitulate again the rules of pronoun change and the rules for change of time and place. Now here I give example why I asked what happened to her. The indirect speech of the sentence is, you will be given all the grammar question answers or MCQs in this form. You have to choose the correct answer from the options given. So here I wanted to know why and what had been happened to her. This is not a correct sentence. I asked why and what had happened to her. I asked why and what happens to her. I asked why and what would happen to her. So none of these are sentences that speak the original word, original sentence theme with correct grammatical position or situation. So, except the option I asked why and what had happened to her. So, this would be the answer. Again, there is correction of errors, where the errors in subject verb, there are a lot of errors even beyond what I have written here that we do while writing. So there are errors in subject verb agreement, in usage of verb and tense, in usage of articles and prepositions, and also errors in the clause structure. So here is just one example of how the correction of error question may look. Choose the sentence without error. But she was looked at me and smiling. You can make out that this is not the correct answer. Like, this is not a correct sentence. So 4 options are given, among which you have to choose which is the correct sentence with the correct grammar and correct sense. So that will be, but she was looking at me and smiling. That is the correct option. So thank you students very much for watching this lesson. I would hope you would go through and practice as much as you can all the grammar, and most of all read the lesson, read the story. Not only this story, I am telling this for all the stories very, very carefully and intently, because if you know each and every information and line of the stories, of the poems correctly, you can score full marks in your MCQ. So students, all the best for your learning session. Thank you so much.